Greetings my fellow knights and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's battle, the Imperial Knights are running the Spearhead at Arms detachment and are bringing the new Knight Defender, a Cerastus Castigator, 3 Helverins, 3 Warglaives, 1 Callidus Assassin, 2x5 Sisters of Battle, and an Immolator. Salamander Steve is back and he is running the Forge Fathers detachment. He's bringing a captain in Terminator armor leading a 5-man squad of Terminators, Vulkan He'stan leading a company of heroes, a captain with a 10-man squad of Infernus Marines, a Techmarine, a Gladiator Lancer, 6-man squad of Inceptors, a 5-man squad of Infiltrators, a Land Raider Redeemer, a Repulsor, a Scout Squad, and a Vindicator. We are playing Mission Pack Foxtrot today, which is Hidden Supplies. Deployment is Hammer and Anvil, and we are playing on Terrain Layout number 1. Top of round 1, and the Salamanders are going first. They will draw Bring It Down and Recover Assets as their secondaries for the turn. Vulkan will select the center southern objective for his primary target, and Oath of Moment will be the Warglaive on the southern edge of the board. Techmarine will buff the Lancer, giving it +1 to hit. Start of the movement phase, and the Repulsor rolls a 5 on the advance, but unfortunately it's not enough to get it onto the objective. Gladiator Lancer will reposition onto the template, having true line of sight onto the Warglaive that's popping around the corner. Unable to move around it, the Vindicator will position behind the Lancer and the Techmarine will follow them, remaining nearby. Terminators are going to disembark and move up against the wall and outside their deployment zone to recover assets. Start of the shooting phase, and the Gladiator Lancer will fire into the green Warglaive. 2s into 2s are pretty good. It fails both of its invul saves and it explodes. The nearby defender is the only one that takes the shrapnel and will suffer 3 wounds. That is going to end a strong turn 1 for the Salamanders. They will score 4 points for Bring It Down and 3 points for Recover Assets. Bottom of round 1 for the Imperial Knights, and they will draw Established Locus and engage on all fronts as their secondaries for the turn. The Defender will bondsman the 2 Warglaives, and the Castigator will bondsman the 3 Helverins. Start of the command phase, and the Sisters of Battle will sticky the home objective. Start of the movement phase, and the Helverin will push onto the objective near the board edge and gain line of sight to the tail end of the Repulsor. Red Helverin is going to do the same thing to guarantee they have the point next turn. Sisters of Battle are going to disembark from the Immolator and move on to the point but remain off the template. Immolator will then reposition to peek around the corner, getting line of sight down the firing lane. In hopes of maintaining the backfield screen, the Helverin will do a slight reposition to also gain line of sight. The Knight Defender moves towards the board edge and toes into the building to gain line of sight on the Gladiator Lancer. The Bone Warglaive will advance onto the center of No Man's Land to stage for next turn. The Gold Warglaive will take its place, making sure both are within 12 inches of the Defender for next turn. Not wanting to be left out, the Knight Castigator will position itself behind the Immolator, also able to shoot down the firing lane. Start of the shooting phase, and the Defender will fire into the Lancer, managing to exact revenge for its fallen Warglaive and blows up the Lancer. Salamanders are going to spend a command point to pop smoke on the Repulsor. Immolator will fire into it, managing to strip cover. Then the Castigator will fire into it, leaving it at just 7 wounds. In a heads-up play, Salamanders are going to spend a command point for Burning Vengeance. The command squad inside will disembark onto the objective, allowing them to score it next turn. The 2 remaining Helverins will fire into the Repulsor as well, and that proves to be enough to pick the tank up. It does not explode. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 1 point for Engage on all fronts and discard Established Locus for a command point. Top of round 2 for the Salamanders, they will draw Marked for Death and Assassination as their secondaries for the turn. They control one objective and will score 5 points on primary. Marked for Death targets are the Battle Sisters, the Callidus Assassin, and the Neon Helverin, with the Gamma target being the Red Helverin. Techmarine will buff the Vindicator. Oath of Moment will also be the Red Helverin. Terminators are loaded up with Power Fists and will make a move towards the Twin Helverins. With the Helverins still having AP2 and sustained hits, Imperial Knights decide to fire Overwatch with the Doomed Helverin. Terminators absolutely whiff all their saves and lose 4 of them on the movement. Infernus Marines are going to jump into the Rhino to stage for next turn. The Land Raider will then advance but fails to roll enough to completely exit the building and will remain on the template but gain true line of sight. Vulkan and the Command Squad are going to reposition on that objective but remain off the template. The Vindicator is going to move to the other side of the building. Techmarine is going to advance onto the home objective to remain within range of the Vindicator and the Land Raider. Start of the shooting phase, the Vindicator will fire into the Red Helverin. Imperial Knights will spend a command point to -1 AP and it suffers 5 wounds. The Redeemer will fire into the Immolator, only scoring a single wound. The remaining Terminators fire into the Helverin and score 1 damage. Into the charge phase, and the Terminators make the 9-inch charge into the Red Helverin. They proceed to absolutely smash it to bits. It does not explode. They will then consolidate onto the second Helverin. That is going to end the turn for the Salamanders. They will score 2 points for Marked for Death and discard Assassination for a command point. Bottom of round 2 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw behind enemy lines and no prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They control more objectives than their opponent, so it will complete their oath, earning them 2 CP. They control 2 and control more and will score 15 points on primary. Defender will bondsman the 2 Warglaives, and the Castigator will bondsman the 2 Helverins. Sisters of Battle will sticky the objective on the center. Knight Defender will plow through the wall, succeeding its leadership check and gaining line of sight on the Vindicator outside of 18 inches. Sisters of Battle are going to spread out behind cover to continue to screen the backfield. Gold Warglaive will get just inside of range of the Land Raider Redeemer. Immolator is going to move on the objective and push back the Inceptor Deep Strike. Castigator is going to move just outside of engagement range of the Terminator Squad. The Helverin will fall back to the other side of the terrain piece and remain on the objective. The Bone Warglaive is going to make a move on the Vindicator. At the end of the movement phase, Salamanders will spend a command point to rapid ingress the Inceptors inside of their deployment zone but behind cover. Start of the shooting phase, the Salamanders will spend a command point to pop smoke on the Redeemer. The Immolator is going to split fire, sending the Hunter Killer and the Flamer into the Redeemer, scoring only 1 wound, but then stripping cover, and the Bolters into the Vindicator, scoring no damage. Knight Defender fires into the Vindicator and it absolutely rocks its saves, taking only 3 damage. Nearby Warglaive fires into the Vindicator and it survives at a single wound. Gold Warglaive will fire into the Redeemer, bringing it down to just 11 wounds remaining. Neon Helverin fires into the Redeemer. Salamanders will spend their final command point to Armor of Contempt and it only suffers 3 wounds. Castigator fires everything into the Redeemer, hoping to finally take it down. And it does, with the Infernus Marines disembarking in front of it but out of line of sight of the remaining Helverin. Imperial Knights spend a command point to allow the Helverin that fell back to shoot. It will fire into the Terminators, picking up 1 and leaving the captain at just 2 wounds remaining. Into the charge phase, and the Warglaive will charge the Vindicator. It makes it in and will spend a command point to tank shock to finish it off. The Vindicator does deadly demise, and it will deal 1 damage to the Techmarine, 3 damage to the Infernus Marines, 1 damage to Vulkan Squad, and 1 damage to the Warglaive. The Castigator makes its charge into the Terminator captain. It will sweep into it and proves to be enough to take the Terminator down. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 3 points for behind enemy lines and 5 points for no prisoners. Top of round 3 for the Salamanders, they will draw established locusts and no prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Oath of Moment will be the Knight Castigator. Start of the movement phase and the Inceptors will move out of the building and onto the objective. Imperial Knights are going to fire Overwatch with the nearby Helverin, but no joy. The Techmarine is angry at losing all its nearby vehicles and will go after the Warglaive. Scouts are going to spread out to make sure the rocket launcher has eyes on the Warglaive. Vulkan will step into the building so he has line of sight into the Helverin and can target it with his ability. Infernus Marines are going to advance and move towards the Helverin. Start of the shooting phase, Vulkan will select the Legion Helverin with his ability giving all Flamers and Meltas twin linked. 2 Infernus Marines and the Inceptor Squad will all fire into the Castigator and it survives at just 6 wounds remaining. Salamanders are going to use the captain's discount on immolation protocols targeting the Infernus Marines. The remaining 9 will fire into the Legion Helverin, handing 9 saves and dealing 12 wounds to take down the Armiger. The scouts fire into the Warglaive, but no joy. The Techmarine fires into the Warglaive, dealing 4 damage. Vulkan and company fire into it, dealing 3 damage. Techmarine is not one to quit and it will make the charge into the Warglaive. It comes down to the wire, but the Techmarine going Super Saiyan proves to be exactly enough to take the Warglaive down. That is going to end the turn for the Salamanders. They will score 4 points for no prisoners and discard established locusts for a command point. Imperial Knights are going to pick up the Callidus Assassin. Bottom of round 3 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw Display of Might and Area Denial as their secondaries for the turn. Knights are going to Insane Bravery the Castigator and score them 15 points on primary. Start of the movement phase and the Gold Warglaive will go after the Infernus Marines. No Overwatch from the Salamanders as they're waiting for the Castigator to move. Sisters of Battle are going to move outside the building to have line of sight on the Infernus Marines. Immolator doesn't trust the Castigator to succeed its battle shock test next turn and will remain on the objective. No longer required to screen, the Neon Helverin will push forward. Second squad of Battle Sisters are going to spread out to block the objective from the scouts. Callidus Assassin will join the Sisters of Battle on the objective behind the wall, vecting both the Inceptors and the Infernus Marines, but not the company heroes. Start of the shooting phase, Immolator will fire its bolters into the Inceptors, wounding 1 and stripping cover, and the Flamers into the Infernus Marines, but no joy. Neon Helverin into the Inceptors and it picks up 3 of them. Castigator unleashes a barrage into the Infernus Marines and takes down 6 of them. The Knight Defender will split fire, sending the conversion beam into the Inceptors, picking them up, and the Plasma into the Techmarine, taking it down. Gold Warglaive into the Infernus Marines, picking up 2 of them. It's charge o'clock and the Warglaive is into the Infernus Marines, making sure to stay away from Vulkan. The Warglaive sweeps, picking up the remaining Infernus Marines but leaving the captain alive at just 2 wounds remaining. Crackback from the captain scores a single wound on the Armiger. That is going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They will score 4 points for Display of Might and only 2 points on Area Denial. Top of round 4 for the Salamanders, they will draw Defend Stronghold and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Vulkan is going to cleanse his objective for 2 points, and the Infiltrators will successfully defend their stronghold for 3 points, but with barely anything left on the board, the Salamanders are going to call it there. That is going to make the final score 38-55 in favor of the Imperial Knights. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, how about you drop us a like and share us with a friend, as we would really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel directly, consider becoming a channel member, as you will receive a shout out in the battle reports, are able to suggest units to bring in our list, and we are working towards streaming live games for our members as well. That will do it for today, my friends. So until next time, as always, happy gaming.